excited with what we got going on. But I think, we had a chance. We were up, and we didn't close it out, and that hurts. There's no way around that, especially on senior day, especially for this class of guys. But ultimately, we are proud, extremely proud of the season we've had. I think somebody said that there's only been 4 or 5 7-win teams in the history of this school, and that's something for this group to be extremely proud of. And I look forward to turning the page and starting kind of the next generation of Pacific football. Well, we knew we were going to have to play physical. There was no doubt about that. There's a reason that Linfield's defense has played the way they have, and a lot of that is their up front presence. I thought I haven't seen any of the stats. I haven't looked at any of that, but I thought we effectively ran the ball on our side. And it's the quarterback run game is something that is very, very challenging defensively, and I don't know that there were some schematic issues, not necessarily. Um, Not yet. Um, I think one of the things that we'll look back on this year, again, it's not just Linfield, but PLU and the 1 point loss there, and a 4 point loss to Willamette. And, it's there's no close. But I think from where we started, from where we were a year ago to where we are now, yeah, there's absolute progress in this football program, and we're excited with what we got going on. But I think we had a chance. We were up, and we didn't close it out, and that hurts. There's no way around that, especially on senior day, especially for this class of guys. But ultimately, we are proud, extremely proud of the season we've had. I think somebody said that there's only been 4 or 5 7-win teams in the history of this school, and that's something for this group to be extremely proud of. And I look forward to turning the page and starting kind of the next generation of Pacific football. Well, we knew we were going to have to play physical. There was no doubt about that. There's a reason that Linfield's defense has played the way they have, and a lot of that is their up front presence. I thought I haven't seen any of the stats. I haven't looked at any of that, but I thought we effectively ran the ball on our side. And it's the quarterback run game is something that is very, very challenging defensively, and I don't know that there were some schematic issues, not necessarily physical type issues in that. But I thought we played a pretty physical football game, and it showed for most of the game. The biggest thing is the schematics. When you add the quarterback run game in, there's an extra gap, and you got to make sure that you're fitting the gaps correctly. And that type of offense, kind of option esque in terms of the quarterback being able to keep the ball. You got to play very sound gap sound, and there were a few times that we got out of gaps, and they exploited that. Well, I'll tell you what, this school and the supporters that we have been tremendous in creating a really fun college football atmosphere. It's our kids love playing here. The students have a great time down in the end zone, and we travel very well. Last week at Willamette, we dang near took the place over, and our school was really supportive. Bus 2 bus loads of students down to Willamette to see that game, and the support from the students has just been awesome over the 4 years. I think when we came back on, there's a little bit of skepticism of what a football player was going to bring back to mean, anybody that plays anything, any sport, whether it's volleyball, basketball, football, a energetic crowd atmosphere is fun. We don't need it. We can play in a vacuum, but to have it is awesome. And I think that is part of, especially at this level, when everybody is at field level, when everybody's intimately involved with the game, is something that you don't get in the big stadiums at the Division One level, and it makes for an unbelievable Saturday for the people that get to take part in it. I just keep my head down and go to work. The Pacific has been an incredible place. My wife loves it. My kids love it. It's just been a tremendous life experience for us, and the people we've been around is what's made that. And that's the coaches in the department. That's the faculty on campus, the administrators. Everybody has just been absolutely incredible, and that makes for an easy time getting up and going to work every day. I don't. I can lie and say we will, but we'll relive it all. We've got our conference coaches meeting tomorrow, so I got to put that hat on tomorrow, and Monday we'll come in, we'll watch the film, and we'll start the recruiting process, which, as we know, is probably the most important process there is. No, I think you just raise expectation levels. When you get satisfied, you're not hungry, and we haven't hit anything that in terms of our level that we feel satisfied. And I think you hear from the players in their conversations that we talk about building a championship culture here, and that's big words given the history of this conference. And the teams that have played for national championships in this conference. But it's the drive that we have. It doesn't define us whether we achieve that goal or not, but it's our drive. It's what we're working for, and those kids they want to be at the top of the heap, and that'll drive them through the off season too. We don't set a goal like that. We play the person who's in front of us, and week in and week out, it's a different challenge. It's a different opponent, and when you talk about a championship culture, it's not boom or bust. It's not all or nothing. It's a process to get there. We know it's a process to get there. It's something that you constantly are striving for, and until you get there, it's going to be a fight. And then once you get there, it's going to be a dog fight to stay there. And I think that's what keeps competitive people in this game. I think it's what makes football such an incredible game, is that drive to be great. I got no idea who's coming back next year. I couldn't tell you. I actually made a mistake and called Josh a junior from Linfield. I thought he was a junior. That kind of thing. I am going to spend from tomorrow until our first game, September 6th, worried about the Boxers, and that is it. I can't beat anybody for the next 8 months. There's nothing I can do to play an opponent. So all I can do is continue to push our guys and build a culture here that puts us in the best position to, on September 6th, play College of Idaho and start off the season hopefully the same way we did last season at 1-0. And that's all we're worried about. Well, recruiting's about as competitive as the game day experience, and we feel like Pacific's a tremendous academic institution, a tremendous football experience for them, and a great place to spend 4 years going to school. And when you truly believe in something, you're not really selling it, and you're not trying to pull wool over anybody's eyes. It's a great little place, and we think guys will be attracted to come here. Well, I think having been there now at those moments in these kind of games, um, familiarity breeds confidence. And, up until this year, we hadn't played teams at the top of the conference close, right? I mean, you go back and look at that, and that's the way it goes. So I think, guys seeing and believing that we can play at the upper end of the conference is a big step that will naturally occur. And then it's going to be the challenge of how hard do we want to work in the off season to get to the next step. No matter what, you got to get bigger, you got to get faster, you got to get stronger, and that's a challenge across all schools. And the teams that do that best have the best off season, and in turn typically have the best seasons. We did a senior banquet last night for them and their families, and I ended my speech with thank you. Seems like such a trivial statement, um, given the debt of gratitude that this school and I personally owe these guys. That when I got hired here, um, I didn't know what we were going to get, and 4 years later, we've built a winner, and that's not me. That's them. That is the drive that they had to get their teeth kicked in for 2 years, and come back every single Sunday to get better. And I can't. Thank you's not enough. I owe them everything, and they're going to be great people. They're going to be successful people. They're going to be tremendous husbands and fathers. And I'm just proud I played a little role in that. Haven't even talked to them about it. My approach on that is that they're seniors this year, and they needed to take it all in as seniors. These are guys that aren't planning on playing pro football, and these are guys that have already got interviews to graduate programs. The TC and Jordan are darn near 4.0 students, and they've got decisions to make about their lives that we'll sit down here in the next couple weeks and we'll talk, and ultimately I will support them in whatever they want to do, because what I'm here for is their growth, their development, and if their next step is grad school, awesome. And if their next step is, hey, I want to continue to play, then we'll find a way to make that happen. Yeah, it was a huge appeal to come to the Division III level for me, is to be around guys that had drives beyond the football field, and they do. They're going to be captains of industry and doctors and physical therapists and optometrists. It's going to be fun. To find the answers to the true test of did I do right by them. Isn't going to happen for 10 years until I see them at a reunion out underneath the tent, complaining about Coach Buckley's third down calls or something. But what kind of dads, what kind of working men they are is going to be the telltale of how we treated them while they were here. Resilience, absolute resilience. These guys have been through a lot, and it's something that's been passed down. It's something that we've talked about the legacy that they wanted to leave as a senior class, and standing in the corner here listening to Brandon talk, I think the message was received by the younger guys of what needs to be done and what needs to be carried on moving forward. there's some pretty good players. I mean, Brandon has really come into his own this year. As one of the top DBs. Jack Perez is going to be an incredible middle linebacker for us. He's spent 2 years, playing behind Tim, and over the year, it's kind of gotten more and more equal reps. Alex Williford had a tremendous breakout years at the end, and we've got Devin and Bobby both coming back at running back, and Jake has been a great possession receiver for us, and so we've got four O linemen coming back. Kevin Peterson, who was our starter last year, missed this entire season, and he'll be back. So we feel pretty good with the depth we've got coming back, and really excited with our freshman class we got this year. We'll go out and fill again with a freshman class and keep building. Yeah, it's interesting. So many of the this first class, there was nobody ahead of them, so they walked in the door, and all they were doing was competing with each other for spots on the field and snaps, and every subsequent class now is competing with people above them, and when you're chasing guys, you work a little bit harder to get there, and snaps